Good evening, dear students. So welcome to today's lecture on an introduction to linguistics. So linguistics. So today in this lecture, I'll be dealing with an introduction to linguistics, and I'll be teaching you the aspects of language. Okay. So linguistics, what is linguistics? Linguistics is a scientific and systematic study of a language. So it looks at language from different aspects, such as sounds, letters, you have word order, you have grammar, you have pronunciation and meaning. So you study a particular language from all these aspects, and you study it in a very systematic and scientific way. That is what we give a proper definition to linguistics. So this branch of study is not very old. It's nearly 150 years old. And before this particular name, linguistics, came to being, this branch of study was called philology. It was a part of philosophy. And before, because people were not interested in the study of a living language like French or English, much importance was given to Latin. Okay, so but actually it is in the late 19th and early 20th century that attempts have made to study the living language, English and French, to study the structure of these languages. So not actually, Latin language was actually ignored. That the structure of Latin language was not used in the study of language, English language. So serious attempts were made in that period. I mean, late 19th century. We have many structuralists and all those people coming up, and they were actually dealing with all these things. So linguistics, it has evolved as it's a branch of science, and you have, as I told you, you have many aspects to this particular language. First, you have sound, right? You have letters, you have word order, you have grammar, you have meanings, you have pronunciation, right? So each aspect of a language is studied in very systematic and scientific way. First, we can take the first aspect of linguistics, that is sound. So just imagine the 1-year-old, 2-year-old kid. What he utters is not a very large sentence. What he utters is a sound, right? So the first aspect of linguistics is called phonetics. It is all about sounds and pronunciation. So phonetics is what is the first aspect, that is about sound. The study of sounds is called, speech sound is called phonetics. So phonetics is a study of speech sounds, and it includes how sounds are made using mouth, nose, teeth, how this or articulatory phonetics, that we'll discuss all these things in later sessions. How all these things are produced, how a particular word is uttered, and what are the things that go on in your oral cavity in that sense. We have a term called articulatory phonetics. Next, understanding how the ear picks up these sounds and how the brain processes all these things, that is called acoustic phonetics. Okay, so these are all about what you call articulatory phonetics and acoustic phonetics. Next, we move to what you call phonology. Phonology, it is actually, in phonology we study the difference. Okay, for example, phonology is actually, we can say that phonology is application of phonetics itself. How meaning is created by the contrastive use of sounds. So how all these contrastive use of words, how they come together to form meaningful units. For example, you take our mother tongue Malayalam. You just imagine telling these words called manam and manam. Manam and manam. So na and na sounds, actually there are two. We have here Vyanjanaksharangal, we have these two, na and na sound is there, right? We have two separate sounds for that. But take the case of English. When you utter the words called namely pen and fun, Na, only you have pen, you have fun, right? So in these two words, nurse, only you have this na, the nasal sound na, right? So that is how in phonology we actually study how the contrastive use or how they come together and they form meaningful sentences. Next, what you call it is a morphology. Morphology, it looks at how words are formed to form meaningful group of letters called morphemes, right? Morpho means shape. For example, a word called unbound. We have two morphemes there, un and bound, right? Untied, untie, then the sound, the suffix is added, right? So that is what about morphology. You have free morpheme, you have bound morpheme. You'll study all these things in the later sessions. Next, what we have is a syntax. Syntax is what we call a word order. So we discussed sound, you discussed words or letters. Next, these words should be arranged in an order, right? That is what we call word order. So it is an order in which the words are arranged in a sentence. So it looks at sentences so as to reveal the meaning within. Okay, then we can, you can call that particular word order as a grammar, right? So syntax, it looks at how morphemes or these letter or words are arranged grammatically in a sentence. And English has got a very strict word order when compared to our vernacular, when you compare to our mother tongue Malayalam. Okay, so word order in the study, that is what we call this as a syntax, right? Next is word order is there. We have to attribute meaning, right? So we have meaning. The scientific study or what we call the study of meaning is called semantics. What we call it? Semantics. So it is analysis of the meanings of the word and the relationship between them. So no particular word has gotten a particular meaning associated with it. I will tell you an example. Just imagine this particular word. Remember this word called kalam. That particular kalam, when you utter a word called kalam, it is always a utensil where we cook rice for a Malayali speaker. But for kalam, it is always a pen for a Hindi speaker, right? So it is no particular word. That is what is when then Saussure has come up with it, science, all these things. We'll discuss all these things in later classes. So, meaning is something that we give and it is very much related to the cultural, background of the speaker. Okay. And next, that is all about that. And you study word, you study the meaning, you study word order, you study grammar, you study the contrastive use. It's not enough. What is important is the pragmatic use. So pragmatics, it involves the study of how speakers of a language use that particular language for communication. And so that is how that particular community, for example, imagine a Malayalam speaking audience out there. So we have a particular thing and where we actually utter certain kinds of words that is always understood by the Malayali speaker, right? So it's all about how speakers of a particular language, they use that particular language for communication. So these are the aspects of a language. When there's actually, you can call all these things as linguistic tools. And with the help of these linguistic tools, or by analyzing all this aspect, word, sound, letter, word order, meaning, the pragmatic use of phonological structures, you can study a particular language to the fullest and you can become very proficient in that particular language. So the aspects of a language is very much, it's basic in understanding of the language. So this is just a basic introduction to the introductory session on linguistics. Thank you all.